the judiciary, while giving orders, should also anticipate whether these orders are implementable or not, and then suggest something else. And what is that something else? For example, in 2017, in a case known as State of Tamil Nadu versus K. Balu, Supreme Court said, and Supreme Court was hearing a case where there were incidents of drunken driving. So the truck drivers, they would ply on the national highways, but on the national highways there would be liquor shops as well. Since they are consuming liquor by buying liquor from the nearby shops and then driving, drunken driving, it leads to accidents, it causes death, it causes destruction of property as well. And what the court said ban liquor within 500 meters of national highways. This was the judicial order. But how to skirt this order? To ensure that we don't implement this order, the governments changed the rules, converting national highways into urban roads. Some part of the national highways, they were renamed as urban roads, which means now this ban is not applicable on this urban road. If within 500 meters you can't sell the liquor, now liquor shops were pushed slightly ahead of 500 meters. So there are enough ways to which you can make these judicial orders unimplementable. But this writer says that there have been at least two instances or many instances where some of the judicial orders have been effectively implemented, and he cites the example of 2018 related to passive euthanasia. These rules, according to the writer, has been effectively implemented. But I disagree with the writer. These rules, if they would have been effectively implemented, then there was no need to change the rules. The very fact that these rules, which were invoked by the announced by the court, ordered by the court in 2018, these rules had to be changed in 2022 because some of these guidelines were unimplementable. For example, this was related to passive euthanasia. For example, the right to a living will. I can, when I'm in sound health, sound body and mind, I can make a living will that tomorrow if something happens to me where I'm unable to decide the future medical course of action, for example, I can say in my living will that don't put me on the ventilator support. I had to get this will countersigned by Judicial Magistrate First Class, and I have to search for him, making it difficult. I had to get this living will signed by, countersigned by, and then you had to set up a board, and then the board will have doctors which will have 20 years of experience. Where can I find such a doctor in a rural area with a 20-year experience? Because these orders were unimplementable. That is why we changed these rules in 2022. So that now you don't have to get it certified by Judicial Magistrate First.
Incoming voice call from +91 62000 35.
हेलो।
हाँ पर टिकट कम से पार्सल आए।
हाँ बस पहुंच रहा ऑफिस, ले लेते हैं। ठीक है
आइए बाहर ही खड़े हैं ना।
5 मिनट लगेगा, ड्राइव कर रहे हैं। ठीक है ना,
ठीक है आइए।
ठीक ठीक ठीक।
By any gazetted officer, and when that medical board will be constituted, for that the experience of the doctors should be 5 years and not 20 years. But be that as it may, this writer says that enforcement has been effective in this passive euthanasia case. Enforcement has been effective also in the Taj trapezium zone case, where there was proper enforcement because there was an element of pollution which could have affected the Taj as well. Then strict guidelines were issued. Green belt was established around the Mathura oil refinery, and there were officers who were designated to monitor and ensure the compliance of these directives. And that is the crux of this article. The crux of this article is that orders are given by the court, but how these orders are effectively implemented on the ground, for that we need officers, and according to the writer, these officers should be accountable to the judiciary. And in case these orders are violated, then these officers will be held liable for the violation, which means you are fixing accountability as well. That is the crux of this article. So the crux of this article is judiciary gives an order, a tribunal gives an order, but it depends on how these orders are effectively implemented on ground. In some cases, for example, in passive euthanasia case, Taj trapezium case, according to the writer, the orders have been effectively implemented, enforced on the ground, but in other cases, we have not seen the enforcement. For enforcement to effectively implement, we need officers who will be accountable to the judiciary. And then these officers will also be personally accountable, held liable, in case these orders are violated on ground. That's how we can make these judicial orders effective. Strengthening the enforcement of judicial orders is the need of the hour.